Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into our video. We were supposed to record a different topic today, but we decided, due to the current state of affairs of America, that we wanted to change course and discuss what's going on today. As a nonprofit organization, we just want everybody to know that we stand 100% with Black people who are struggling with injustice and racism in America. The violence and brutality that continue to happen amongst Black people and people of color is completely disheartening. We Are Listening consists of a team of women of color, and we completely understand everything that you're going through. We understand the struggle and the pain, and we can't sit back and not touch on this topic and let you guys know that we're here for you and we understand. We have all gone through our own personal experiences with racism, and we're going to share our personal stories with you. So Antoinette had a situation that happened with her, and she's going to discuss that and speak with you now.
Hi guys, I'm Antoinette. If this is your first time tuning in, I remember when I was 20 years old. I was about 20 years old, and I was working at a Family Dollar. I was a cashier. I've always been a pretty friendly, I meet no strangers type of person. So, I flock to customer service type of jobs and things of that nature. And so I had this older white lady, little old white lady. She was like maybe 60, 70, probably 70, maybe even 80 years old. And I was more than happy to run over there and help her. And I got to the register to assist her. And she was like, no, I don't want you to ring me up. So I was like, oh, is everything okay? Like, what's wrong? I don't want to be serviced by a colored girl. And I was, you sometimes imagine how you're going to react when you're in a situation like that. And I always thought, I was from Brooklyn. I thought I was going to break bad. But in that instant, I was completely shocked. It took me back because here was this little old sweet looking white lady who didn't know me from a can of paint and immediately didn't want me to help her just because I was Black. So I said, okay, I'm supposed to respect my elders. So you got that. I went and got one of my colleagues who also happened to be an older white lady. Her name was Helen. She was about 50 years old, and I was sad. You can see it all over my face. And I was like, Miss Helen, can you go help her? I know I'm supposed to be on the register, but she doesn't want me to help her. She was like, well, what's wrong? And I told her, I said, well, she said, because I'm colored. Oh, Miss Helen went off. She went over there and she said all the things that I couldn't say in that moment because I was so shocked and hurt and just completely disappointed in the situation. But I'm 47 years old now, and that stays with me like it was yesterday. And that's just one of many instances. Cass can tell you the story that she went through.
Yeah, Helen, love her. She's an example of an active ally.
Yeah.
So my story, I was in the 5th grade, so about 10 years old or so, and I love the American Girl dolls. They've been around for a while, because I know they're still out there. And I would walk around with the catalog and circle what I wanted. And I remember going over with some friends of mine. We were at lunch, and the lunch monitor's walking around. And I made a comment. And I was like, how come everything is hyphenated? How come it says African American, Asian American, but it just says white? Like, why, what's the difference? And the lunch monitor came over and heard my comments. And her response to me at 10 years old was, oh, what do you people want to be called now?
Wow.
And at 10, you don't have the vocabulary to understand what that statement really means. You just know that it doesn't feel good, like something in your stomach drops, and you know that you shouldn't be spoken to this way, but you don't have the vocabulary. And it wasn't until years later when I was processing it in conversation with someone, I was like, she didn't see me as a child, because you don't speak to a child that way. in her mind, I was just another black kid. I wasn't a child. I was 10 years old.
Yeah. She didn't care about the
And
feelings, you being
not at
you-
all.
how that was going to hurt
Not,
you. With you.
not at all. And it's like, your daughter is not that much older than me. Would you want someone coming at her like that in such an aggressive manner? So it's like, whether you're 20, like Antoinette was, or whether you're 10, like it stings you and it does something to you and you never forget it. That was 30 years ago, and I still remember that day. I could see her face and everything. Like, she seemed so angry that I was questioning the label that America had given me as a Black person. It just, it was, So, I mean, hey, Di, I'm sure you got something to add to the pot.
Hi, I'm Daisha, and yes, I do. Actually, something for me when me and my husband, we bought our first home in New Jersey, and the area was pretty much a predominantly white area, but it had been changing over time. And after we bought our first house, we was all excited. And the previous owners, they moved down the street, and they were lovely people because they wouldn't have like sold us the house unless they felt that, you know, that love was there from us. So we were really excited. And I remember they invited us to a barbecue. And at the barbecue, there was the fire marshal of the town. And the fire marshal, he had asked my husband first. He was like, well, how did you get the house? So my husband was like, okay, through the realtor. And then later on, he asked again, but then he had asked me, same question, how did you get the house? And we were like, okay, through the realtor. So then the owners of the house, as I said, they were really nice people. They said, they noticed that he kept asking us. And I remember he had said, well, didn't they already tell you it was through a realtor? So of course, after that, he didn't ask again. But, to me, I know me and my husband, we thought about it later, and we was like, well, why was he asking us that? And to me, I felt like I deserved to live in a nice home, in a nice area for my family. And, what right did you have to ask me that? So, I did feel a way about it. But of course, we still lived there, and we continued that, he wasn't going to take that away from us. I don't know if I thought maybe, like we weren't good enough to live there, but that shouldn't matter, based on, I guess for them, maybe it was the color of our skin of why he may have felt that. But you're the marshal, the fire marshal, and we're just, a regular couple that wanted to buy a house there. So, I guess it just shows that, it was happening then, and it still happens today. And it happens in many different ways. The racism is there, and it hasn't changed. So,
yeah,
it's not
racism is always
overt.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the same thing. Sometimes it's
yeah.
underlying, just like that.
It's so hurtful and it's so painful, and people don't look at the things that they say and their reactions and treating you like you're less than is one of the most painful things to deal with. And as Black people, we just tend to, just say, oh, that person's racist, brush it off and keep it moving. But it doesn't mean that we didn't hurt and we didn't feel the pain of that racism.
It hurts worse when it's those underlying things, because you start to second guess and question yourself. Did that really happen? Like, when it's overt, it's really easy to go name it, that's it. But when it's those underlying, how did you get this house? That starts to make you question yourself. Like, is that really happening? Am I really seeing this? Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, definitely.
It's damaging in a lot of ways.
For sure, absolutely. And but the stuff that we do think about are those blatant, blatant
Right.
situations, like the story that I know Vinay has. We've known each other for years, and I remember when this happened. You've got to
Right.
share that story on the
Oh,
train. You know what I'm
yeah.
talking about.
So, I, unfortunately, like Antoinette said, I have a- countless examples that I can share of racism that I've experienced in my lifetime. This one particular incident happened to me when I was either 17 or 18. I was a freshman in college, and I normally took the train with two gentlemen. They were my friends. We took the train every day, coming home from school anyway. And we were on the train one day. We pulled into Atlantic Avenue in Brooklyn. So all the Brooklynites, Atlantic Avenue. We pull into to Atlantic Avenue, and police
Mhm.
officers run on the train, screaming and yelling with guns out, pointed at me and my two friends. Pointed out, I mean, blazing, like guns blazing,
Mhm.
pulled out, pointing at us, screaming for us to get off the train. So of course, initially we were paralyzed because we were like, "What is going on? Are they telling us to get off the train? Like, is this really happening?" And they were yelling and screaming, "Get off the train! Get off the train!" Guns out, pointed directly at all three of us. So we hurry up, we get up, we hurry up, we get off the train. We're on the platform, and they proceeded to pat down the two guys that I was with. They didn't pat me down, but they took my backpack that I had on coming home from school, and they were checking my bag. And I'm asking them, "What's going on? What's going on?" And they're patting them down, and they're going through their bag. And they finally told us that we robbed this old lady on the train, and they pulled us off the train because we robbed this old white lady. And I was in utter shock. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So the police officer said, "She'll be here in a moment to identify you." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And at this point, they were holding us there. We couldn't move. The train was still sitting there. People are watching. And the white lady comes, old white lady, she came walking down the platform, and she pointed at us and she said, "Those are the three people that robbed me. They took my purse. They robbed me." I couldn't believe it. Here we are, innocent. We sit on the train every day. We go to school, from school, and ironically,
Mhm.
we were attending John Jay College of Criminal Justice at the time. We were students at
Mhm.
John Jay College of Criminal Justice in Manhattan. If people don't know what school that is. And so I started to tell the officer and plead to the officer, "We are students at John Jay College. We have our IDs. We can prove to you we're students. Like, why would we do something like this? Why would we rob somebody?"
Mhm.
And the lady was still pointing at us. "They are the ones that robbed me. They robbed me." And so finally, I convinced the police officer to look at our IDs, check our IDs. So he checked our IDs, they checked our IDs. And that was the only thing
Mhm.
that allowed them to say, "Okay, you guys can go." We were on that platform for an hour. Once they checked our IDs and they saw that we went to John Jay, they held us for about 10 minutes more, and then they let us go. And all I could think of was,
Mhm.
first of all, I was so hurt. I was so hurt the fact that they pulled us off the train and treated us like that. And that situation could have gone any way. We could have gotten hurt. We could have gotten shot. We could have gotten killed. We could have been going to court for a situation that we had nothing to do with. We could have gone to jail for it. We could have had a record as a result of it. This could have went any other way. And we were just in disbelief. We were hurt. It was something we talked about for a long time. And this is something that I'm sharing with y'all on, via video, but it's not something that I've ever spoken about outside of with friends and family and people that I've met along the way. But just to be treated like that was is unimaginable.
Mhm.
Unimaginable. Imagine being 17, 18 and going through something like that. And the police pointing a gun in your face and telling you to get off, that you robbed somebody. It was disgusting.
Mhm.
The sad part is we don't have to imagine it as people of color because we have all experienced racism multiple times on one level or another, whether
Yeah.
it was in your face or if it was underlying, like Daisha. And
Yeah.
we're tired. It's exhausting. It's it's exhausting. It's like we have PTSD as a community. We have post traumatic syndrome. Um, that's why when we were going to do our regular topic that we already had planned and we were excited about, we realized that we couldn't, because many of us couldn't sleep. Um, I was on the phone. I work from home, and in between calls, I'm crying on the phone, and I'm like, why am I crying? Because it's heavy.
Yeah.
It's heavy, and we're tired. We're exhausted. We're scared. I'm scared. I'm scared for my daughter, who is the same age as Breonna Taylor, that she's at home sleeping one night and they
Yeah.
accidentally go to the wrong house. I'm scared for my nephew, who wouldn't hurt a fly, but because he's tall and black and has dreads and has a deep voice, may get shot when he's going to pull an iced tea out of his pocket. I'm scared for my brothers. It's to have that constant fear
Over your head.
is not good. It's not healthy. It's stressful.
Mhm.
You don't know what to do with it. You feel like you're going to
Mhm.
explode.
Yep.
People are already in a state of agitation with everything else that's going on with corona and things of that nature. But on top of all that, just imagine if you're a person who is not a person of color and haven't had to experience this,
Right.
think how you feel with everything that's going on with corona. That's life for us every day. Racism is our corona.
Every day.
Every
Yeah.
day we
Every
have
day
to
we
worry about it.
every day we step out
Every
of our
day, every day. So right now we're like, oh, hand sanitizer and mask. We are preparing ourselves by, okay, if I get pulled over, let me make sure I have
Mhm.
my hands up. Let me make sure that I'm leaving. We have to go through so many more extra precautions just to kind of feel safe, but we still don't feel safe. It's impossible. We're in a situation where it's impossible to feel safe. So it's understandable that you're seeing what you're seeing on TV. Am I saying I agree, or am I saying I support it? I'm saying I understand.
Yeah.
I understand that people are expressing themselves and they don't know what to do with that agitation. They don't know what to do with that hurt, with that pain. Like, if it was your mother or your brother or your son, that every time they walked out the door, you have to worry about their life, you would feel the same way we do. Like, I'm tired.
And sometimes, no matter what
Mhm.
precautions you take, racism is hate, and all they see is the color of the skin. So it doesn't matter if you put your hands on the steering wheel. It doesn't matter if you put your hands up above. It doesn't matter if you lay on the ground handcuffed with nothing that you can do. It's still going to kill you. So that's something that we have to carry and live with every single day. I have a husband. I have a son. I have two sons, older. I have my whole family is black, and that's something that I have to think about every single day. Not just now, all these years, all the years going forward behind us. Something has to change. It has to change. We
Mhm.
understand the struggle, and for young people that's watching our video, we understand your pain. We understand your struggle. You're probably confused. You're probably angry. Probably going through an array of emotions. And the people that we look up to, the adults we look up to, our parents, our teachers, our peers, our uncles, they feel helpless just as well. They don't know what to do either. So your feelings are understandable, and we're all trying to come to terms with how do we move next? What do we do now? Because this
Mhm.
cannot continue to happen. And it's not even on our level. It's so much bigger than us. It's so much bigger than us. So
But
we can all, do try to do something and pitch in, and Cass is gonna talk about some tips on what you can do right now for the situation that's happening right now. Cass.
Yeah. So, as Aunt said and as Danae said, there's a lot going on, and internally we can be feeling a lot of different things, everything all at once and numb at the same time. And it can start to feel overwhelming. It can start to feel like I'm just going to throw my hands up because I don't know what to do. But there are things that everyone can do, no matter how small your action is. If everyone does a small action, that leads to big change. So start with voting. You know, everyone says you got to vote, you got to vote. But things change and happen when you vote. Understand the issues, read the issues, know who you're voting for. Make sure you're voting for people who sympathize and understand your plight. We're never going to tell you who to vote for. It's going to tell you know who you're voting for. You know, write to your congressperson. If you're too young to vote, write, tweet, email, get your voice out there. If you can vote, bring someone with you who always says, I'm not going to vote. Bring them with you to the voting booth. Do an absentee ballot right now. And, you know, in New York, after 9/11, there was a saying, see something, say something. Same thing goes for racism. If you see something, say something. If you hear something, call it out. Helen, in Antoinette's story, she heard something and she called it out. Use your privilege. If you are not a person of color, use your privilege. Stand with us. Stand in the gap and help us. Everyone can do something, no matter how small. You want to donate to a cause. That money can go far. You don't have to be in the front lines protesting, but anything you do can make a difference. You just have to decide what your action is going to be and follow through with it.
Yeah.
If I'd like to just add on to what Cass was saying when she was talking about voting, especially for, you know, our youth. Sometimes we focus too much on the big election, president, vice president. To make changes to your community that are going to really affect you, it starts in your community. So the sheriff, the prosecutor, the police chief, you know, a lot of these seats, you know, they get voted in. They're elected officials. And you need to find someone that is going to be creating laws that protect you. That's who you go for. And like she said, you can pick up the phone. Listen, prosecutor, you know this is wrong. We need you to do A, B, C, and D. That's one thing. But another thing to remember is money. Money is power. And if there are businesses out here that are not supporting the cause, you don't have to shop there. You don't have to give them your hard-earned money. Support those who are supporting you. And that's how you make a difference. And again, be a Helen. If you see something, say something. I don't know how else to put it. We're tired, and things are going to change. So you can be a part of that change. Don't think that if every single person thought, I can't do it, I'm not going to be able to do a change, then nothing would ever happen. So every single person can make a difference. Do what you can within your community. If your community is too big, within your family, within your friend circle, start there.
And it's going to be a system change. It's going to be about voting. It's going to be about all the petitions being signed. You can sign a petition if you text Floyd to 55156 on your cell phone. It brings you right to a petition that you can sign. Those signatures mean something.
I think that's going to be my new slogan from now on. Be a Helen.
Be a Helen.
Be a Helen. That's going to be my new slogan. Be a Helen.
Be a Helen.
Just be that person that says no more. I'm not going to let you do it.
Right. It's the human race against racism. It's not just Black people. It's going to take everybody. It takes everybody to make a change like this, because it's systemic racism. It's in the justice, in the court systems. It's in everything that's built. It's in everything that's set up. And everything is set up to fail people of color. It's set up to fail people of color. A lot of people can't vote because they're in jail. And when they come out, you know, they had a felony. The felony could be accurate or it can be inaccurate, but it stops them from being a voter. So everything is systemic and it's a cycle of oppression. And so the only way we can change that cycle of oppression is if we get out and make a change by voting. Voting is power.
And be that change you want to see.
I was just going to leave you with another quote. Einstein said, "Bad things happen when good people are silent." And of course, that means to make sure that you go out there, as we previously said, cast your vote, you know, say something about it, just like Helen did.
Yes, be at home. So we want to thank you guys for tuning in. Of course, we are listening. We mentor young ladies ages 13 to 22. If anybody needs to reach out to speak to us, please feel free. You can go to our website, click on our mentee form, sign up with us. We can connect with you right away. If you need to talk or you know, just need somebody to listen to you. Thank you so much. Bye now.
Okay.
Bye, everyone. Be safe.
Bye-bye. Okay.